Immigration officials said Tomas Hernandez worked in high-level posts for Cuba's Foreign Intelligence Agency for decades before migrating to the United States to pursue the American dream. The 71-year-old was detained by federal agents outside his Miami area home in March and accused of hiding his ties to Cuba's Communist Party when he obtained permanent residency. Cuban Americans in South Florida have long clamored for a firmer hand with Havana, and the recent apprehensions of Hernandez and several other former Cuban officials for deportation have been extremely popular among the politically powerful exile community. "It's a political gift to Cuban American hardliners," said Eduardo Gamarra, a Latin American expert at Florida International University. "But many Cubans fear they could be next on Trump's list," he said, "and some in the community see it as a betrayal." While President Donald Trump's mass deportation pledge has frightened migrants from many nations, it has come as something of a shock to the 2.4 million Cuban Americans, who strongly backed the Republican twice and have long enjoyed a place of privilege in the U.S. immigration system. Amid record arrivals of migrants from the Caribbean island, Trump in March revoked temporary humanitarian parole for about 300,000 Cubans. Many have been detained ahead of possible deportation. Among those facing deportation is a pro-Trump Cuban rapper behind a hit song Patria y Vida, Homeland and Life, that became the unofficial anthem of anti-communist protests on the island in 2021 and drew praise from the likes of then Republican Senator Marco Rubio, now Secretary of State. Eliezer Marquez, who raps under the name El Funky, said he received notice this month that he had 30 days to leave the U.S. Thanks to Cold War laws aimed at removing Fidel Castro, Cuban migrants for many decades enjoyed almost automatic refugee status in the U.S. and could obtain green cards a year after entry, unlike migrants from virtually every other country. Democrats, meanwhile, have been trying to turn the immigration crackdown to their advantage. In April, grassroots groups erected 2 giant billboards on Miami highways calling Rubio and Republican reps Mario Diaz-Balart, Maria Elvira Salazar, and Carlos Jimenez traitors to the Cuban American community for failing to protect tens of thousands of migrants from Trump's immigration policies. The arrest of former Cuban state agents is one way to bolster Trump allies, Gamarra said. In March, Jimenez sent Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem a letter with the names of 108 people he said were former Cuban state agents or Communist Party officials living unlawfully in the U.S. It is imperative that the Department of Homeland Security enforce existing U.S. laws to identify, deport, and repatriate these individuals who pose a direct threat to our national security, the integrity of our immigration system, and the safety of Cuban exiles and American citizens alike, Jimenez wrote, adding that the U.S. remains a beacon of hope and freedom for those escaping tyranny. Support for Trump among likely Cuban American voters in Miami was at an all-time high on the eve of last year's election, according to a poll by Florida International University, which has been tracking the Cuban American community since 1991. Trump rarely mentions Cubans in his attacks on migrant targets, including Venezuelans and Haitians. That has given many Cubans hope that they will remain immune to immigration enforcement actions.